Hey bag makers, I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. This is my husband Danny, and you're watching Sewcial Sunday, our weekly sewing chat. Hey everybody, happy Sunday. Welcome to Sewcial Sunday. Oops, Danny's...
I had to log off to start to avoid that problem.
Oh, it's so funny. Great minds think alike. I had this on my outline also. It's Chris Huff's 40th anniversary, so congratulations to you, Chris. She said in the comments, can't wait for the show. Oh, thanks, Danny. Cut me off there.
Did you not write it down?
Yeah, well, I didn't write. Okay, it's fine. Charlie's watching from Connecticut. Oh, there we go. She says, I look forward to seeing you, Sarah and Danny. You make my Sundays. And then she's mentioning about her anniversary. So congratulations to you again. Evelyn is watching from California. And thanks for watching Sewcial Sunday. So we're going to chat about a few things. I'm going to be answering some questions live, as many as I possibly can. So if you have a question for me, either a sewing related question about a notion or tool, or a bag making question, feel free to type your question anytime in the comments on either Facebook or YouTube, wherever you watch the show. And you'll need to be signed into your account in order to type a comment. Danny will be collecting questions throughout the show, and I'll be answering as many as I can live. So, there's also a giveaway at the end of the show as well. So I wanted to share a picture of, I'm not much of a gardener, but I've been purchasing a bunch of plants that are good for hummingbirds, butterflies, and bees. I purchased a bunch on Etsy, and they've been in our yard for about 2 weeks now. They're doing great, except for a couple of them. Danny's going to put a picture on the screen of one of my favorite ones. This is called a penta, and they're all doing really well except for two of them. So we have a couple of wild rabbits in our yard. The female, Violet, has named Lightning Bolt, but she was thinking of changing it to Dandelion, so I'm not sure. I'm still going to call her Lightning Bolt for now.
What's with the speed names? Flash, Lightning Bolt.
I don't know. Lightning Bolt is working on building a nest. She's working on it right underneath our kitchen window. So in the morning and in the evening, I see her working on it, and she brought her husband to our yard yesterday, and they were sort of wrestling over a carrot I had left outside. So anyway, two of the plants that I bought on Etsy are not looking so good because I think Lightning Bolt has eaten them down. Those two were in the ground, but a lot of them are in pots or in a raised garden bed like the penta. Bonita says, are there any plants that repel mosquitoes? I'm actually not sure. Because I'm
something citronella, whatever. What citronella is that?
Is that a plant? I'm sure there's a bunch of gardeners that are watching the show that can leave some comments about plants that are good for repelling mosquitoes. I'm not sure, but I'd like to know. What else? We have anyway. Before we moved into the house, the previous homeowners were really into hummingbirds, so they had a couple hummingbird feeders. And they planted tons of plants for hummingbirds. So I make the hummingbirds food on the stove. I just make a mixture of sugar and water. And I have to refill the two feeders often because it's like every 2 minutes except for during the middle of the day. So in the morning and in the evening, the hummingbirds are at the feeder like every 2 minutes. Sometimes to me it appears they're fighting, so one will come to the feeder and another one will swoop down and chase the other one away. So I call it fighting. I'm not really sure if that's what they're doing or not. So we're really into, or at least I'm really into hummingbirds around here. Lemon bass, Gretchen is recommending for the...
I think it's lemongrass.
Lemongrass, okay, thank you. Katie's also saying lemongrass.
Marigolds,
Marigold,
rosemary,
lavender.
citronella.
Okay, so I guess citronella is a plant. Okay, I did not know that. Besides our rabbit Lightning Bolt, we have a hawk that's built a nest at the back of our yard, and there's 4 chicks in the nest. They're pretty big already. They have all their, to me it looks like adult feathers, except for on their head. They still have fuzzy white feathers on their head. I watch them with our
binoculars.
Binoculars, thank you. So yesterday I was watching when the mother was feeding them, which I caught the tail end of that. It was, I don't want to say gross, but like I would rather not watch the whole process, but it was very interesting seeing her feed them. And today I was watching them with the binoculars, and the mother was not there, and to me it looked like they were kind of fooling around. They were jumping on a branch next to the nest and kind of flapping their feathers, and it looked like they were having a good time. So we have lots of fun animal friends in our yard.
Hummingbirds are extremely aggressive, territorial. That's what I was putting on the
Oh,
comments
okay.
up.
Okay.
People were saying that.
Interesting. I did not know that. What else was I going to say? As you know, I've been working on the Summer Sampler 2020 quilt along, and the block that I finished last week I wanted to share with you. It is oh yeah, Danny's going to take that picture away. It's a foundation paper piece block. So it's got lots of geese and then the stripes down the side. I really, really love foundation paper piecing. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically sewing through paper and then you remove the papers from the back when you're all finished. I think I've got half of the quilt blocks finished, and I'm really excited that I'm still keeping up with the blocks every week, because sometimes I looked back in my email history and some of the I save a lot of patterns in my inbox, and I save them in a couple of other places as well, just to make sure I don't lose them. The Summer Sampler has been going on every summer for a few years now, and it seems like every year I'll complete about 3 blocks, and then I'm not sure what happens, but it trails off after the 3 blocks. So I'm really happy that I've completed so many blocks this summer. Sarah says, Sarah, do you use the red syrup for your hummingbird feeders? If so, I read the red dye isn't good for them and it's a lot cheaper to make your own. Yeah, I did read the same thing about the red syrup. I do make my own with sugar and water, and I just boil it. So I looked for a recipe online, and they basically said it was equal parts sugar and water. Boil it, I let it cool, and then I put it in the feeder, and it's really easy, and most people have sugar around the house, so very handy to just prepare it quickly when you need to. I also signed up for, a couple days ago, I signed up for 2 college courses. Apparently there's a whole bunch of college courses from different colleges that you can take either for free or for a low fee. And I signed up for 2 horse-related courses. One was about owning your own horse, and the second course was about horse nutrition. And one class was from the University of Florida, and the other one was from UC Davis. So the 2 that I signed up for are through the end of August, and there's quizzes and papers that I have to write and readings that I have to follow and videos that I get to watch. So I'm really excited about starting that. But I wanted to let you know about another college course that you can take for free, or you can sign up for free starting today. It's a Yale course from Dr. Lori Santos, and you might have heard me mention her on Sewcial Sunday in the past. She has a podcast that I listen to called The Happiness Lab, which is really great. She's a psychologist, and the free class that you can sign up for, the Yale class, is called The Science of Well-Being. I looked at the class history, and almost 10 million people have taken this class. So if you're interested, I've linked to Dr. Lori Santos's free class in the description. And like I mentioned, sign-ups start today. So it's free. I figure why not? And you might learn something. So a few other non-sewing related things I've been doing lately. I've been trying to use up my organic farm share vegetable crops. I had some zucchini and Swiss chard that I wanted to use. So last night I made a really, really rich chocolate zucchini bread. Danny's going to put the pictures on the screen for the zucchini bread. Oh, there's the soup. The soup I made today is called chickpea soup with Swiss chard, and there's the zucchini bread. Like I said, it's really rich. I guess if you wanted it to be less rich, you could leave off some of the chocolate chips. It would still be chocolatey, but it was delicious. I think there's 1 piece left, something like that. Danny walked into the kitchen at dinner and he said, where did all the zucchini bread go? So I have to make another one. I do have some more zucchini left. If you're interested in either of those 2 recipes, I've linked to both of them in the comments. And those pictures were not my pictures. They were from the respective recipes websites. What else was I going to say about that? For the chickpea soup, I did use a chicken bouillon vegan substitute, so it's not made from actual chicken, but you can use chicken broth for that particular soup if you wish. Another thing, not sewing related, but certainly stitchy related. On Monday I started working on a cross stitch of a mandala zebra. So here's my progress so far. I'm about half done. I might be able to finish it before next Sunday's show, or at least I'll show you how far I got next Sunday. And I picked up a couple of cool gadgets for working on it, because I had a really hard time, especially in the evening, seeing all of the little squares, especially when I was working with some of the lighter threads like white, or I had some ivory DMC floss in that particular design. So I had a really hard time seeing, and I picked up a couple of fairly inexpensive things to help me out with that and working on that project. So I'll share some of those next Sunday. Danny's second favorite part of the show, when he's on the show with me, we'd like to invite all of the bag makers to stand proud. Let us know in the comments that you're part of the So Sweetness squad. We really appreciate you watching the show and being part of our community. And I for sure always look forward to Sunday evenings when we get to chat with you and get to demonstrate different books, review things, and that'll be part of next Sunday's show. So I have a huge backlog of notions and fabrics and books to share with you. So excited to share some of those with you next Sunday. Well,
on to my pick of the week, since Sarah's been talking so long. I had to cut in real quick. And, I was going to the group today, and I was looking like, oh, what should I pick? Should I go with my normal sci-fi stuff? And I'm sure everyone gets so bored of that. And I saw this one. I'm like, no, this is the one. It's a Baker Street bag made by Sherry L. I'd love to say her last name, but I would not say it correctly, so I won't do that. And I love the colors. I love the idea of it looks like piping around the outside. The fabric just looks amazing. 1, 2 thumbs up. Great job, Sherry.
Sherry added a ton of extra details to her bag. She added the side strap with the swivel clips, the flap, the applique on the flap. There, like Danny mentioned, there's piping down the front of the bag. She used different fabric for the side panel, so all the portions stand out. So she added...
She even fussy cut the middle, if you look towards the bottom. You see the seam?
Oh, yeah.
The seam actually, the lines match up perfectly. So
wow, that is amazing.
That's got to be tough.
Wow. I love this bag. It's fantastic, and
beautiful.
Sherry added so many special details to it.
I thought Sarah would like it because she's really into birds right now.
Yeah.
Start calling her Bird Brain.
Oh, I love watching the birds with the binoculars, and the binoculars work so good, like the hawk's eye. I can even see that her beady little eye is yellow, and I know that's the purpose of binoculars, but I'm just amazed at how close up that they can get when you're looking at things. So good job, Sherry, and keep posting your photos in the Facebook group. So we love seeing all the pictures, and I know everyone else does too. So let's get over to some questions. Were you going to say something?
That's the fabric bender asked what was the name of the bag. It's a Baker Street bag by So Sweetness.
Yep. However, there was a lot of... Sherry added a ton of modifications, so just be aware of that. I'm going to be getting over to some questions in just 1 second. Before I do that, I wanted to announce the winner of last week's giveaway, and that winner is Jodelle Phillips. So congratulations to you, Jodelle. Whenever you get a chance, please drop me an email with your mailing address so that we can get your prize off to you in the mail. And again, congratulations, and that winner was Jodelle Phillips. All right, take it away with the questions, Danny.
Alrighty.
All right, Sarah's question is logo, Danny.
Hi, Captain.
Thank you. Last week I saw you use fray block. The directions say you're supposed to warm it up in a cup of water before using. Do you do this? Actually, apparently I did not read the directions. I've never warmed it up in a cup of water before. Mine usually, someone mentioned that my fray block really squirted out last week on the show. It sure did. I've never had a problem with it being less than liquidy, but I guess if yours is coming out kind of chunky or whatnot, certainly do follow the instructions for that. But I've never had an issue, and I really like the fray block compared to other seam sealants I've used in the past because it doesn't seem to get stuck in the nozzle like another brand that I've tried previously. So Moni says, I know you mentioned what program are you following for the summer sampler? Great question. It's called, actually it's just called Summer Sampler 2020. And the website is Freshly Pieced, I think she changed her website to Lee Heinrich. But if you just Google Summer Sampler 2020, it should be the first thing that comes up when you Google it. Beth says, Sarah, is there a book you can recommend so that I can learn how to sew the geese? Would love to learn. My friend Jenny Baker, I think her book was about geese. I don't remember the title of the book, but if you do search for Jenny Baker, and I think the publisher for that book was Lucky Spool, but I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correct, I think the whole entire book was about geese. Trishy says, Trishy Witchy, I like that a lot. 1 part sugar, 4 parts water, and hummingbirds love ice cold water in their
I
feeders.
saw someone else said 1 part sugar, 4 parts water as well.
Oh, I must be putting too much sugar with mine. I wonder if I should put more water with mine next time. Thanks for the tip about the ice cold water. I did not know that. I did read somewhere about the hummingbirds that they like having some form of dripping or running water nearby, so that after they go to the hummingbird feeder, they can kind of not hose off in the water, but like get all the stickiness off their beak. I put up a little bird bath with standing water, but I haven't figured out a way to get it to be dripping or moving water yet, so I'm not sure if they've been using it or not. Karen says, the zucchini loaf, is it vegan? It is not. You'd have to make substitutions, but the original recipe does have eggs and butter in it. Great question about that. Gretchen says, is there a video on different zippers and their use? I'm getting confused. Yeah, zippers certainly can be a bit confusing. I do have a free video on my YouTube channel. If you'll just, on the So Sweetness YouTube channel, if you'll just type in the search box, types of zippers, that video should come up. I think it's a 10 to 15 minute long video about different zipper types that I use for bag making. How to shorten zippers, how to shorten metal zippers. So all that's included in that particular video. Another question, Fray Block or Fray Check? Those are actually 2 different brands of the seam sealant. The one I'm currently using is the Fray Block, but I've used the Fray Check in the past. Sharon Grace says, any recommendations for a good iron? The iron that I have is the Singer Expert Finish iron. I've had it since 2013. And when we were still doing sewing retreats, I bought a couple more just because I loved that particular iron so much. The first iron I ever had was a Rowenta, and after, I think it was a year and a week, it started leaking. And since it was past the warranty was, I believe, for a year, I was sort of out of luck. I'm not sure. Oh, I do remember how I came across that Singer Expert Finish. There was a website that used to be called Sew Mama Sew, and at the time, and this was probably 7 or 8 years ago, I did an iron review for that particular website, and I reviewed 5 different irons, and the Singer Expert Finish was one of them, and apparently I liked that one the best since I'm still using it. Bonita says, what foundation paper piecing paper do you use? You can either use copy paper in your printer, normal printer paper, or Hugs and Kisses makes a really fantastic fusible applique paper, which you can also use for foundation paper piecing. I haven't been able to get a hold of it for a while since the pandemic started, so I don't have any left. I've been using the regular printer paper, but when we're able to get it back in the stock, it is called fusible applique paper from Hugs and Kisses, and the reason that I really like it is it's water soluble. So after you sew through it, if you choose to do so, you can leave it in your quilt blocks. You can machine quilt your quilt, bind your quilt, leave the paper in there, and then when you wash it for the first time, the papers will dissolve basically. Darlene says, can we iron the cork on the right side? I would highly suggest that you do not iron the cork on the right side. If you're working on a bag and you need to do any pressing, I recommend you finger press it. If you need to get a crease out of the cork, I would recommend ironing on the wrong side with a pressing cloth for as little time as possible, because the heat from the iron can, excessive heat, or if you leave the iron on the wrong side of the cork for a long time, it can potentially damage the makeup of the cork. So if you do need to press, just do it quickly with a pressing cloth, otherwise finger press. Julie says, I'm trying to find a sport zipper for the airplane bag. Any ideas? So when I first wrote the pattern from the airplane bag, it's been many years now, I did use a sport zipper in the original bag for that pattern. However, since years have gone by, I do prefer to use a handbag zipper, either a number 4.5 or a number 5. I really like the handbag zipper because it has wider tape. The tape is about 4 1/4 of an inch wide, and your sewing machine may vary, but on my particular sewing machine, I can sew with my regular sewing machine foot rather than the zipper foot, which makes it a little bit easier for me. Marilyn says, I would like to make your soup that you showed. Can you share the recipe? So I've linked to the recipes for those, the bread and the soup, in the description of tonight's show. It should be on both Facebook and YouTube, and the link for Dr. Lori's class, and I think I put 4 or 5 links in the description, so you can find those there. Terry says, I'm teaching myself to quilt. Can you recommend a type of batting for a beginner? When I first started quilting, I had a friend recommend Warm and Natural batting. So that's a good brand. I admit I'm not a super educated on the different types of batting. I've had a few quilts long-armed in the past, and when that happens, I generally have the long-armers recommend and use their favorite type of batting. I think the last quilt that I had quilted was a wool batting in there. If anyone is more educated on the batting types than I am, feel free to let us know in the comments what your favorite type, brand, and type of batting is. Maybe Danny can put a few of those up on the screen later on in the show. Diana says, Fray Block dries soft, Fray Check dries hard and scratchy. Oh, I didn't even know that. Thank you for commenting about those seam sealants, Diana. Geraldine says, where do you get your handbag zippers? We actually have them on our website at sewsweetness.com. We have double pull handbag zippers in 30-inch lengths and 40-inch lengths, and we also have handbag zippers in zippers by the yard, so that means you add your own pulls. We sell the pulls and the zippers by the yard, as well as the fully finished zippers with the pulls already attached, and those are in 30 and 40 inches.
Warm and natural. I see a
lot of warm and natural.
Yes, warm and natural.
I see a quilter's dream also for the batting.
Yep.
Sharon Grace says, any recommendations where to get a Juki 2010 Q or the TL 18 Haruka? It is sold out apparently all over. I didn't realize it was sold out. I did purchase several Juki machines from a quilt shop in Ohio. I actually called and ordered over the phone, and they shipped it to me. They had great customer service, and the shop is called So to Speak. Again, it's in Ohio, and they will ship. I'm not sure what the status is, if they're still able to get the machines in, but I feel like it's worth a try to either call or email me, and you can email, not me, call or email the shop, and again, their website is So to Speak, SEW. Donna says, Sarah, wondering if you have a tutorial for including a slip or hidden pocket on a bag. I'm not sure if I have the right terminology for this pocket. I'm not sure if you mean, I don't know. I'm thinking about the type of pocket. Why don't you email me after the show and we can nail down exactly what you're looking for, and I can help you with that. My email is sarah@sewsweetness.com, and that's Sarah with no H. And yeah, feel free to email me anytime. Heather says, can I use cotton flannel on the Coalition duffel bag, and would I still need to use the interfacing that is suggested? I think I would still use the foam interfacing that's called for in the pattern. I've never used cotton flannel for a bag before, just because maybe it's just me, the flannels that I've purchased in the past after several washes have pilled. However, perhaps especially if you're not washing the bag that often, maybe it'll be okay. I'm sure I've seen over the years people make bags and post them in the So Sweetness Facebook group made with flannel, so I don't see why not. Kathy says, do your zipper pulls work on resin zippers? You know, I've not tried them. I'm gonna veer toward no, but as I haven't tried them, I'm not 100% sure. But again, I'm feeling the answer might be no for this one. I have just started using zipper tape where you add the pull. Do you have to worry about the zipper tape fraying on the bag? So you can, if you're concerned about the tape, zipper tape cutting, fraying, because you do have to cut it to the size that you need it, you can heat seal it. So to do that, the easiest way is to take a lighter and just kind of whip it past each of the ends that you cut, and the heat from the lighter will melt the nylon zipper. This is for a nylon zipper tape. You may want to cut a little bit of extra just in case it melts down a little bit more. Sometimes when you melt it down, it shrinks a little bit, so you might want to, just to be safe, cut it just a smidge longer than you'll need, and then heat seal it, and you can make adjustments from there if you need to trim it down a little bit more. Gwendolyn says, Sarah, could one sew the widget messenger bag with a serger? Entirely with a serger? I don't think so. All of the parts of the bag are sewn right sides together and then turned. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure. I'm sure you could sew some parts of it with the serger, though, certainly. Janet says, are you having difficulty finding soft and stable foam? That's a great question, and honestly, I don't know because I have this roll of soft and stable that I've had since
Uh-oh.
at least late last
They're
year.
like, hey, Sarah, can I just get a little square of that?
There's not a lot left on the roll.
Sure.
Oh, there isn't, actually. I don't know. If anyone's been able to get the soft and stable readily, let us know in the comments where you're purchasing it from. Admittedly, I don't use it up as fast as I would like to, the rolls. The rolls are generally 15 yards. And they do also sell it in packets of half-yard packages, 1-yard packages, 2-yard packages. But let us know in the comments if you've been able to purchase soft and stable recently. Deanne says, are zipper pulls interchangeable between brands of zippers? Sometimes they are and sometimes they're not. We can't guarantee that our pulls will work with every different type of number 5 zipper. They will for sure work with the number 5 zippers that we sell on our website. Yeah, I guess that's my short answer for that question. Lori says, want to make an Aragon bag. How many yards of fabric do I need? I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but the fabric requirements are listed in the shop under that pattern. So if you just want to Google Sew Sweetness Aragon bag, the product listing for the shop at the end of the page should have all of the supply requirements for that pattern. If I had to guess, I would say 1.25 yards for the exterior fabric, but that's just my best guess on that one. RC says, I made another locked and loaded and used Decoville light instead of the foam interfacing. Would you double up on the Decoville light? I would like somewhat more body. You certainly can double up on the Decoville light. I've doubled up on several interfacings before. The Pellon Decker bond, I traditionally have liked to double it up with 2 layers. I don't see why you couldn't do the same for the Decoville light because it's similar, and I think that would give really nice structure to the bag. And if you'd like to do so, you could even trim the Decoville light minus the seam allowance just to keep, if you do decide to go with the 2 layers, just to keep that extra bulk out of the seam allowance. Kathy says, can you tell us again which cordless iron you use? It's the Panasonic. I think it's in my cabinet over there. I don't remember the model number off the top of my head, but it was made by Panasonic. We do have a Pinterest board for if you use Pinterest. Bronwyn manages the Pinterest website for Sew Sweetness, and she does have separate boards for Sew Sweetness notions, Sew Sweetness book reviews, and Sew Sweetness demonstrations. And if you go to the Sew Sweetness Pinterest, under the Sewcial Sunday Notions board, all of the notions that I've reviewed should be there, as well as links, including that cordless iron.
Panasonic 360,
Oh.
Gretchen says.
Oh, thank you very much, Gretchen. Diane says, will you be restocking Windy City bags? Actually, I need to look into that. I know last month when I tried to restock my book, Windy City Bags, my publisher was closed down because they're located in Washington, where the pandemic hit initially pretty hard. I'll try to see if I can get those ordered and restocked on the website. I'll write myself a note. Bonnie says, if I ran out of fusible fleece, could I use a quilt batting? Yeah, you sure could. If you wanted the batting to be fusible, you could use a product like Pellon 805 Wonder Under. Wonder Under is available in strips and also yardage. The yardage would work really well to make the batting into a fusible product because it's a double-sided fusible web. So you would iron the Wonder Under, the bumpy side, to the wrong side of your batting, wait for it to cool completely, and then there's a layer of paper that peels back to reveal the second side of the adhesive, and then you could fuse that to your fabric. If you wanted the batting to be a sew-in, you could certainly do that as well. Can you tell me where in my house I put my SF-101? That's funny. I have found that since we moved to the new house, I am constantly forgetting where I put things. I don't know if they're boxed away in boxes still, or if I've just put them in a really good spot in the new sewing room, and I just don't remember since everything is certainly a lot different than the old sewing room. So I am constantly looking for things, so I feel your pain. Gail says, is there a pattern that I can use with a fabric panel? The first one that pops into my head is the Paladin pouch. That would be really good for a fabric panel, especially the size large of the pouch. I've seen many people make that particular bag with a panel. Perhaps the Polaris bag also, because it's sort of on the smallish side, and that would be good for panels as well, especially for smaller panels. I'm trying to think what else. A bunch of the Minikins patterns would also be good for panels because most of them are smaller projects. Retha says, do you use a spray base? And if so, what is your favorite brand? I've tried a few different brands in the past. I really like the June Taylor spray based. I've used it for spray basting quilts in the past, and I really liked it. It was low on odor, and I felt that it was relatively easy to apply and get a nice smooth finish. Mary Grace says, check your freezer. That's where I found my scissors the other day. Don't ask me why. Oh my gosh, that's really funny. Nancy says, I just wanted to share, while I was at Joann's last week, I mentioned Sew Sweetness, and the worker said he has heard that and Sarah's name a lot in the store in Ithaca, New York. Well, that's really awesome. Super awesome. Thanks for letting me know. Garnet says, hi Sarah, received my rulers, rivet, and bag feet. An idea for the rivet that I'm going to try is for marking material measurements to make pleats for scrub bouffant hats. That's a really great idea. I think someone also mentioned on the show last Sunday that the rivet placement ruler would be really, really great for marking button placement on garments as well. Jan says, what is the name of the small vacuum you bought from Amazon? It was called the Tiny Tank. And if you're looking for the Tiny Tank on Amazon, make sure you look for the one with the mini toolkit. That's the one with all the extra attachments that you can use for, if you're looking for it to use to clean the insides of your sewing machine. Cheryl says, can you put a zipper in the front of the large Clydebank tote with the foam? You sure can, and I'm pretty sure Michelle Graham posted in the Facebook group a hack for adding vertical zippers, 2 vertical zippers on the front of the Clydebank tote. It looks super awesome, so check in the Sew Sweetness Facebook group for that. Elisette says, I received the new acrylic templates, love them. I'm so happy that you love them. They were a long time coming, and really, really glad that you're enjoying using them. Renee says, I know that you both have been busy, but any updates on the Sew Sweetness stickers to put on our sewing machines? Actually, I gave Violet an assignment last week. She's been working on these. Violet made these stickers the other day. Is the text backwards? Oh, am I holding it upside down? Violet made these stickers inspired by some artwork that she found online. She printed them out and she put them on a canvas that she covered with duct tape. So I gave her a picture of a couple of bags, the Sublime bags, one of them. My idea. And I asked her to turn it into her artwork, and we could make t-shirts and stickers, but I'm not sure if I'm lower down on her priority list, but she hasn't turned those in yet. So
I told her by the end of this week. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, that's so funny. Kitty says, how to tell which side of the batting is the wrong side? I don't think there's a wrong side to batting. For interfacing, certainly the wrong side is always either the side, if it's usable, either the side that feels bumpy to your fingers, or sometimes it doesn't have a bumpy texture. It has a sheen to it when you hold it up to the light. So that's the wrong side for interfacing. Heather says, when I add a D-ring tab on the zipper for the side straps, would I still add the fabric and cork tabs as well? Cork tabs as well. If you're looking to add an adjustable side strap to a bag, you need some sort of little piece of fabric to
like anchor
the D-ring to the side panel, if that's what you're asking. I think in the past I've
purse
cut
tabs,
those,
right? They're called.
I guess it could be a tab. I think in the past I've cut those strips, if I'm using quilting cotton, maybe about 4 inches by 2 inches, just so I have enough clearance to fold in. And if you're using cork, you'll just need to adjust the measurements. I often like to leave my cork tabs raw on the sides, or at least fold them into the center, so they don't need to be as wide as tabs made from quilting cotton. I really want to try rivets. What rivet press would you recommend? So my rivet press was purchased from Minkus Margot on Etsy. Other members of the Soul Sweetness Facebook group have recommended gold star tools for rivet presses, so either of those should be fine, and you'll just need to purchase different dies depending on if you're installing rivets, grommets, or so on. I do have a video on my YouTube channel showing my rivet press, and also I showed a handheld press, although the tabletop press for me is definitely a lot easier to use. Daisy and Jack says, pimples on the wrong side, dimples on the right side. Oh, thank you for that. I didn't even, Kathy also says, dimples up, pimples down on quilt batting. That's how I remember your needle is going with the holes that way. All right, dimples up, pimples down. Gotcha. Mary says, any update to book club? I feel like I sort of dropped the ball with book club. I started working on a few new things for everyone, sewing things for everyone, and I feel like book club will revisit it. I'm not sure when, but you'll be the first to hear about it on Sewcial Sunday when we do have another books club selection for you. Sarah, how old were you when you started sewing bags? I did make, when I was in the 3rd grade, my mom taught me and my friend Amy how to sew, and we did make a drawstring bag, but I didn't sew again until I was an adult, right before we had William. I came up with this great idea to assembly line make bags, which I never finished because I thought I'll just make 40 or 50 bags and I'll just make each step at a time in all of them. Rather than just finish one first and see how it goes, make a couple. So I ended up with like 40 unfinished bags I never finished. And then years later when I started writing sewing patterns, I realized these assembly line bags that I had been working on at the time were not all that great. So I don't know what I was thinking. I guess it's good I never finished them. It was a lot of wasted fabric though, and interfacing.
That's all the questions.
Calling in on the questions. All right, I apologize if I did not answer your question live, but I will be back next Sunday with lots of demonstrations, book reviews, and all that on next Sunday's show. I do have a giveaway for you this week. In my stash, I was able to find an extra roll of elastic. I'm not sure how many yards are on the roll, but it looks like a pretty decent amount. I will be drawing one randomly drawn winner at the end of the day this Saturday and announcing the winner on next Sunday's show. All you need to do to enter the giveaway is to answer my question in the comments on this video, wherever you watch it, either Facebook or YouTube. My question is from Kathleen, who emailed me this question. She suggested it. I thought it was a great idea, so I wrote myself a note. My question is, how old is your oldest working sewing machine that you own? Oh, my mom says it was really 2nd grade. Mom! That's so funny. So let me know in the comments, how old is your oldest working sewing machine? Mine is my Juki, which is 7 years old. I super love my Juki, still use it. It's on the table right next to Danny, and it's a true workhorse. So let me know in the comments your answer. We had a great time on Sewcial Sunday. I hope you did too.
Good seeing everyone.
Have a great week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.